Hi. April 18th, Zimbabwe celebrated its 34th independence. And during that celebration, the 90-year-old President Robert Mugabe stood up in the National Sports Stadium and gave a speech. Now, in that speech, he declared that he was a 90-year-old with a 90-ton fist, warning Zimbabweans that dared to rise up and demonstrate for unemployment would get it. Anyway, we have a blogger from Zimbabwe. He's 22 years old. His name is Tawanda Moyo, and Tawanda Moyo is joining us by phone. As a youth of Zimbabwe, Tawanda is going to explain to us how life has been for him and his peers. But before that, we just want to play a video. And this is the video of the song Zimbabwe, when Bob Marley came to Zimbabwe, and he wrote this song specifically for Zimbabwe's independence. Let's just take a pause and listen.
Every man got a right to decide his own destiny. And in this judgment there is no partiality. So arm in arms, with arms, we'll fight this little struggle. Children, that's the only way we can overcome a little trouble. And brother, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right. We gonna fight, we'll have to fight, we gonna fight, fight it for our rights. Not in mash it in a Zimbabwe, would get ready, go day in a Zimbabwe. Africans are liberate Zimbabwe.
Welcome. Tawanda, welcome to SaharaTV.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. So you listened to that song?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What is the meaning of that song to you?
To me, I think that song means it begins by saying that every man got the right to decide his own destiny. And I think it's basically a song of freedom, which expresses the inherent personal liberty that all people should have to decide what they want to do with their lives without hindrance and so forth.
Okay. Now, how's been life for you? I know Zimbabwe's independence. Zimbabwe is much older than you, and you're 22 years old, and you just celebrated the 34th independence. What has this been? What's the meaning of all this to you as a 22-year-old? Yeah.
I think the independence has been is twofold. In one thing, I think it's a time for great reflection where we remember those people who sacrificed their lives and those who gave up a lot of things to fear. But that's the process leading to independence. But after independence, I think for most people it has been a dream descent. And that most of the dreams that people had at independence are yet to be realized. Like there's rampant corruption, there's inequality, selective application of the law, unemployment is at an all-time high, people are starving, and all sorts of things. So I think independence, it really means two things. Firstly, the events leading to independence, of course, we have to be thankful, because otherwise the kind of life we're living today is much better than what people were living in the 70s had. But at the same time, it could be much better with better management and better government policies.
Okay. Did you attend the 34th independence celebrations?
I didn't.
Okay, but did you listen to the speech that the president delivered?
I read part of it. I didn't listen to it. I read the part of it later on the internet.
Okay, and also I wanted to find out, as a former student activist, you've always, had to fight for your rights, fight for what you maybe the administration is not paying attention to. Do you sense that there is a need for Zimbabwean people to continue the struggle of rising up and fighting just to be heard?
I think it's very important for people to always fight, even in the so-called democratic societies. I think it's important for people to always try to mass action, to try to express themselves, because the ideas of freedom are never fully realized. In Zimbabwe, I think this is more important than in other countries, because we have, for example, media freedom, or to be specific, at the Independence of Zimbabwe, there was no academic freedom. The students' rights, they were stifled, their voices weren't dead. So I think there is every need to continue fighting, though, of course, the manner of the fighting is different from the armed struggle.
Right. Okay, so there were promises that the ZANU-PF government made during their campaign for these recent elections, and one of them was to deal with unemployment, which is very, very high right now. What do you say as a Zimbabwean youth, and how has this affected the people? And do you know the percentage of unemployed youth in Zimbabwe right now?
I cannot be sure of the exact percentage, but it's very high. And most Zimbabwean youth are unemployed. And I know a lot of my friends who are graduates from the top university in the country, in Zimbabwe, who sell their second-hand mobile phones, who do some menial jobs like selling fast food outlets. But those people are degreed, and they should be contributing to the national economy by doing meaningful work. But such jobs are hard to come by. And in fact, there are very few industries where the youth can reasonably expect to be employed. Perhaps maybe say in medicine, which is always has a high employment rate, and at some extent engineering and other technical subjects. But for the rest of the people in the humanities and social studies and so forth, I have friends who sell airtime 2 years after graduation. Those people are not employed now.
Okay, so what is the general feel of the people? Are they upset? Are they angry? Are they motivated to do anything in terms of, some people leave the country. A lot of people have left the country and others have decided to stay. Now, when you stay, you obviously make that decision to then try and work these, less paying jobs, and that you're not even qualified. That you never really went to school for. So how are people angry?
I wouldn't call it anger, but perhaps hopelessness is perhaps a better word. People have lost people just struggle to make ends meet. So people, of course, the underlying sitting anger, but most of it is just expressed in bad talk. People are not really concerned with, people are really hopeless. And I think things have gotten worse since the elections, and will certainly get worse before the 5-year term President Mugabe recently won is done.
Okay. Do you think that people feel cheated if they voted ZANU-PF? Do you think they felt like their votes were stolen in regards of what the promises that were made are not being made?
From the people I interact with, that seems to be the general sentiment, that people feel that their elections, during the elections, their voices were not heard, and that their choices were not respected. But of course, this has happened in previous Zimbabwean elections, and I think in every election since 1980, there have been allegations, some of them serious, of voter manipulation and vote buying, and all sorts of electoral things which make the elections susceptible to test. So I think, people feel cheated.
Okay. I'm going to read a quote, a statement that was made by Zimbabwe National Students Union spokesperson. His name is Avoid Masiraha. And he says that the education system has gone down without exorbitant fees being charged at schools and higher learning institutions. We do not see the fruits of freedom that was fought for because students are denied rights to demonstrate peacefully, and many youth are unemployed. So this is somebody who represents your voice, no?
Yeah.
Okay, so when the president made that statement and he said that my fist is 90 tons of might, and what do you think this was? Was this a warning or a threat?
I gather it is still a little of both a warning and a threat to deter people from mass action. But I don't really think there are chances of serious protests in Zimbabwe. People are really not into that kind of thing here.
Mm-hmm.
People will just complain about it, but won't really do anything. And I think, of course, Avoid is right in saying that the students are denied rights to protest. Not only to protest, but even assembly. Most of the country's universities are sanctioned meetings will result in expulsions and suspensions. Even
Right.
small meetings of maybe 5 people or so. When at the University of Zimbabwe a couple of years ago, some friends of mine were suspended for writing a letter or something to the vice chancellor calling for reforms within the university system.
Right.
So he is right in saying that the fruits of independence are yet to be realized in tertiary institutions. And ironically, the black government of Zimbabwe since 1980 has expelled and suspended more students than the white racist Smith regime ever did.
Right.
And this really sad, because the University of Zimbabwe, Midland State University, and other state universities, they regularly expel and suspend students.
Okay, I'm also going to read a response from some guy called Pop Shumba. This is a reaction to the recent independence. He says this is an Independence Day in words, but practically, by following all corners, one can be forced to conclude that it is useless to celebrate. However, it is also important to note that this situation of Zimbabwe is not in Zimbabwe only, in all other countries. The fact lies on the side that our principles of reaction are not good. The president and his bootlickers, just like ancient Emperor Romulus, the founder of Rome, wanted mos moarium, i.e. the status quo. This means he don't want change but stick to old things. This is hindering the concept of independence for the majority. And then another one called Chen Chikeja says, megaliters of flesh, sweat, and blood were lost for nothing, and these people must be turning in their graves, that when they sacrifice their lives for our freedom, but only a few are really free. For economic emancipation, but only a few, like the likes of Cash, Burt, Happison, etc., while their subordinates wallow in poverty. The one man, one vote Ian Smith denied them is still being denied to poor Zimbabweans. Think again, my brother. We have retrograded under our hard-won independence, but we can always do more to realize the ideals for what we fought for. So we could go on reading these sad sentiments. But if I asked you who the true revolutionary is, according to Bob Marley's prophetic words in that song, who would you say?
I think that's a very difficult question, but I would say that within the Zambia setup, there hasn't been anyone who has stood tall to the name of being a revolutionary. Mm-hmm. And I would say that none of them is the real revolutionary. I would like to think that Bob Marley meant that the real revolutionaries of this struggle are the people of Zimbabwe themselves. And ultimately, they are the only people who can bring independence and freedom to the country. I also want to say, I think there's a difference between being independent and being free. Zimbabwe, I think, is independent in that we are no longer under colonialism, but freedom is supposed to be a fleeting illusion that will be perceived.
So you feel independent, but you don't feel free?
Yes. We are independent in that no one opposes. I'm not judged according to the color of my skin. I can go into any hotel that was previously off limits to black. I can vote, for example.
But are you judged according to who you support in terms of the party?
That's a possibility. Yes, in some ways I'm prejudiced because I'm not a Zambia supporter. So I would say there's a lot of independence, but very little freedom. the freedom of association, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, all these things, they are really suppressed under the Zimbabwean government.
Okay.
So I'll say Zimbabwe has come a long way in terms of being independent, but we still have a very, very, very long way to go to truly become free.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Tawanda Moyo. This is the only time that we had. We were obviously supposed to be joined by Tapiwa Zivira, who's a journalist and who had covered the independence celebrations, but he failed to attend this phone call. The network was bad. So anyway, Tawanda, thank you very much. We wish you the best, and please stay in tune as we continue with more programming. I'm Fungai Maboreke of SaharaTV.